Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Rachele Teson and I'm a Nationally Certified School Psychologist here in Missouri.
For this week's Tech Tip Tuesday, I wanted to bring us back to one of my favorite tools when using Google products to keep track of my to do list, which is Google Tasks. One of my very first YouTube videos was on task prioritization, going from the brain dump of all of the things to what are my top three that I really need to focus on today. I did that a while back, maybe my fourth or fifth video. But if you haven't already seen that, I would start there because I give a little bit more information about what Google Tasks is, how I use it, things like that. There's also a freebie over there if you want to have a download. If you're more manual, paper, pencil, I've got a freebie for you. But if you're looking for that next step of how to integrate Google Tasks even more into your calendar, having multiple to do lists based on caseload, then stick around because this video is just for you. So let's start where we left off in our last video related to Google Tasks, which was our Google Calendar. So, right now, what you're seeing is my pretend week of April 8th. I just have some placeholders here, what I use as my block schedule. If you are curious about block scheduling, I also have a YouTube video for that you can find on my channel. So, when we're thinking about the tasks that we want to complete, and what I showed in the last video is clicking on the white space just like you would for an event that you're creating, a Google Calendar event. Clicking over to task, creating your task here, and then maybe checking all day. That's my preference, and then hitting save. And you can see I'm going to dismiss that. You can see it shows up at the top here, and I can cross it off, get that dopamine hit of this is all done. And Google keeps trying to show me, Rachele, there's a cool way to see tasks, and I will get there in just a second. Um, but you can cross it off, and that's kind of where we left things in the last video. So this is kind of taking it to that next step, a more intermediate level use of Google Tasks. I'm going to click over to what Google is begging me to do, which is the Google Calendar task view. So we're still in Google Calendar, but we have switched to this tasks page. So I could switch back to calendar, and going back to tasks is how I got to this screen. And there aren't any tasks yet because this is my pretend task list here, but we're going to build it out together. So let's say you were intrigued by that idea of having a separate to do list for every single case that you're working on. So rather than just having one very long to do list with all of the things, because that can get really overwhelming and not very inspirational, having it broken up by the type of category of the task or what I use it for is by case on my case log. It just helps things to stay a little bit more categorized. So on this screen, you'll see all of your tasks here. So if I add a task, I'll just put this is an example task. And I'm going to assign it, let's say next Wednesday. And I just leave it to all day. Um, all right, we're finished with that. I'll kind of click out of it and you can see Wednesday, April 10th, and this is my example task. So if I come back over to my calendar view, you can see it's fully integrated. So if I create a task here on my Google Calendar, it's going to show up on my task page. If I create it on my task page, it will also show up on my Google Calendar, which I really like because I pretty much live in my Google Calendar, making sure that I know when my meetings are happening, my testing sessions, all of those things. So to have my to do list very visual up at the top of my day is so helpful because once I get to these sections that I've labeled office hours, that's where I can do a lot of these tasks. All right, so coming back over to this screen, we've got our example task. That was pretty easy to create. And you might have noticed that this is kind of a block of tasks and it just defaults to my tasks. But let's say we wanted to have a separate task list for every single case. Here's how you do that. You come over here to the left side panel and you'll click on Create New List. This window will pop up, and this is where you'll name this specific to do list. I personally use student initials as the name of my list. So maybe I'll do RT and click on Done. And then within RT, I'm going to add some tasks. So rather than typing out every single task related to an evaluation, like caregiver phone call, email, scheduling a meeting, this could get pretty this could really slow me down if I have to type it out every single time. So what I've done, and probably no surprise to you, I've created a template for that. So I'm going to hop over to my template for my to-do lists that I use in Google Tasks. So I've already done kind of a task analysis of what I do in my workflow, start to finish, for an initial evaluation. And then every time I create a new task list based on that particular student and my case log, I just grab all of this. I can click on right click and hit copy, jump over to our tasks, and we're going to delete these so I can show you kind of what it looks like starting from scratch. So we're going to click on add a task for RT. Right where it says title, we're going to right click and select paste. And Google is saying, "Are you sure, Rachel? Because that's 14 tasks." And we're going to say, "Yeah, I'm sure." So you're going to click on OK. And now you see all of these tasks related to that evaluation. So let's say I've got another student that's up for an initial evaluation. Let's say it's JT. I can do the same thing. I can paste, yes, I'm sure, and have all of those tasks. And let's say that we want to add due dates for ourselves to make sure that we're on track. So maybe for this, it's that day. Maybe for this student, it's over here. I'm just going to add some different dates here, just so we can see. Okay, so I've given myself some fake due dates here. I can do that for each step of the way. And then coming back over to our calendar, you can see I've got caregiver phone call, email family, another caregiver phone call I need to do, and then a follow-up email right after. And you might be thinking, these all are going to say caregiver phone call. How do you know which student it's for? If you click on the task in the description, it tells you the initials of what the student that task pertains to. And then as you complete that task, just hit mark complete. It will update over here as well. And it'll just help keep you on track of all the different things that you have to do. So whether you're in your calendar crossing things off, or you're looking globally at, okay, here's all of my cases. Where am I at with each one? What do I have left in that evaluation timeline? Either way, you'll be able to keep track of all of your to-do lists. So I hope this was helpful. It's kind of a different way to conceptualize how to use Google Tasks specific for school psychologists, keeping track of all of our different cases that we have going on. So if this was helpful, please let me know in the comments. Give the video a thumbs up, share it with a school psych bestie. And if you are already using Google Tasks and it's effective for you, let me know that too. I want to create as much knowledge around school psych tech tips as possible.
See you next week.